morning, everyone. It is 1/7/2023. Today, I have an even more scuffed video setup that we're going to do today, as I'm going to discuss a kind of philosophical idea, undercurrent for, what do you call it? Distorted Rohirrim, and how this relates to Wakuwah and his kind of role in not really, maybe so the narrative, but just generally him as a character and him as an entity. So, I said it was scuffed setup because I'm recording here on my phone, and I deleted my software where I record videos, and I kind of forgot about it, and I decided to make the video today. So what I'm doing is I have my drawing tablet, new one that I got, and I'm just going to kind of draw the pictorial diagram that I want you all to see and witness on here on Microsoft Paint, right? And then we'll go from there. Okay? So, first off, what are we talking about here? Well, you'll see in the video title, but basically, I want to relate to you a term that I've kind of thrown around, my players will know, called, well, actually, take it back a little bit. We want to start with kind of the grounded concepts that we've been building upon in much of our past videos, and the importance of triangles and their connections to one another. So, I don't know if that's the right word, I have discovered a extension of the triangles to, I guess, I don't know how I would say, to basically mark the ascension of Wakuwah and philosophically ground his ascension to an entity other than just a character. So what do I mean by that? So first off, we want to start off with a triangle. Everyone knows what a triangle looks like. There's a nice little triangle there. And so what have we been working with? We've been working a lot with triangles and triangles and triangles and triangles. It's very, how would you say? I don't know if I'm going to use this right. Hegelian triangles, different trigrams of sorts. I don't know if those are the right words, and I don't know if I would even properly call it Hegelian. The point is, though, that we have been talking about triangles a lot in their regards to Oedipus complex in psychoanalysis, in, what do you call it? Not just Oedipus complex, but in the Holy Trinity and God, God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, right? Or the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. And then we've talked about how that relates to, I guess, different characters from my game, Gwendolyn, Vela, and all of them, and her relationship with the Velas, and her relationship with, I guess, Ferdinand and the Pharisee Godhead. So now, how does the Trinity, or how does this triangular kind of pictorial relate to Wakuwah and his role and his emergence? So first off, we want to start with the building blocks of the triangle that we have created. So first off, we're going to start with a basic triangle, and from there, I just got a basic triangle here. We want to establish the three different points of reference to one another. So I want to talk about how does explicitly, I guess the easiest one to start with is going to be, well, I don't want to do psychoanalysis. This is going to be less psychoanalysis and more Christian, actually, in outlook than than I would want to think or others to think about me. But that's besides the point. It's not necessarily. Well, you'll see. You'll see. So basically, we want to start with our points of reference on the triangle. But we're not going to do that with any of the normal philosophical concepts that we know. We're going to start with concepts directly in the game of the D&D world of Therian that we play, and directly from this distorted Rohirrim game. So, what is a triangular relationship? This is for my players' conjecture question. A triangular relationship kind of shown in distorted Rohirrim. I'll give you 1 second to think about that. Okay. Now, it should come as no surprise that I'm talking about the tribunal, right? What is the tribunal? For those who don't know you can't see it, it's reversed. The tribunal is the governing body of Rohirrim, or former governing body of Rohirrim, kind of the government, so to speak, triarchy, almost tri-dictatorship of Rohirrim, right? A three-part kind of that connect with one another to basically make the whole of governance. And so the tribunal of Rohirrim is represented by three different people and three different aspects. We will go into each of them. So the first one, now just bear with me because I can't really show you very well, so just kind of keep them all in mind. Or if you want to play along, you can draw along and you can kind of see. So the first one, we're not going to necessarily go, ooh, there's some in my eye. We're not necessarily going to go like, how would you say one's at the top, one's in the left, one's on the right. It doesn't really matter in this instance, to be honest. So first off, we're going to start with, we'll start with two of them. Being the lesser of importance, arguably, is the Baumeister and the Abt. ABT is how you spell that, Abt. So the Baumeister and Abt are two members of the tribunal, as well as the Commandant, right? The Commandant. So, mind you, and I'd like to think that these are terms not necessarily if from the Rohirrim kind of language per se, more so outward kind of terms imposed upon that culture, is they don't really have the same consonant vowel structure. Now this is a whole different story that I don't frankly want to get into, but that's besides the point. These are the names for these individuals, well, not necessarily names, they're titles imposed by a different culture, but the gist of it and the meaning of them is fundamentally the same as in their actual culture, and their actual culture. They mean the same. It's okay. Never mind what I said. I don't know. That might have been gibberish. The point is, though, that the Commandant, the Baumeister, and the Abt are three different. I don't want to say there's three different sides of the triangle. There's three different points on the triangle, right? And so they represent the tribunal. Now, traditionally speaking, it is the Commandant who has the most power in this kind of relationship. However, they are arguably equal in power as well. I don't want to say on paper, but basically kind of like in the structure of their relationship, they are technically supposed to be equal in power and equal in, I guess, magnitude and their influence. That's a better word I'm looking for. So what concepts, I said these people represent concepts, do they represent? Now, traditionally, they have different roles in society, and are in control of different parts of society. Now, I'm sure my players are aware of this, but maybe those others who are not, I will go into them. So the Baumeister is traditionally, well, hold on. Backtrack just a little bit. So Rohirrim is a kind of interesting and strange culture to understand. The people, the Yaren people, um, which Wakuwah is one, are a very kind of unified kind of people, and they're very unitary in nature. They generally have to band together a lot for survival, and their governance structure is primarily based off of like um, tributary dictatorship and bands and tribes and war bands and um, of sorts, right? And that pay respects to the largest leader out of reverence and duty. They're a very dutiful culture, a very dutiful people who basically are very. It's very weird. They have this strange dichotomy of being very independent, but also being very, how would you say? They fall under authority very easily. Might make truly does make right in Rohirrim, where the strongest ones generally claim their respect, and if the respect isn't there, then they will literally rebel. And it's very mandate of heaven-y, right? Those who have the mandate of heaven, or those who are in power, are very basically immortalized and respected as just like gods. And truly, the tribunal, two people in Rohirrim, are gods. Very similar to, I guess, the Dunmerry uh, Elder Scrolls concept, the tribunal in Morrowind, right? Very there's a lot of reverence there. But once the difference is in Rohirrim, reverence can be lost, and when reverence is lost, you are basically going to be killed. You're going to be killed. Someone will kill you. Someone wants to take your place. Someone will take your place. Basically, in Rohirrim, if someone wants to take your place, you've probably already lost, because that means you're weak enough to where that person who wants to take your place will kill you because they're just better than you. So generally, that's how Rohirrim culture goes. Might makes right. The strongest person or influential person is generally respected. It's very unitary. Now, how does this relate to? Oh, okay, so like I said, okay. One more thing to add about Rohirrim. Rohirrim generally views their society as a living organism or a living vessel, and the tribunal and the three people who make that up represent different parts of that body. So the whole country and the whole people believe themselves as one body, and that whole governance is an extension of that body and that will, right? But the three different heads of the tribunal represent three distinct aspects of that body. Now, or of, I don't want to say that of the body, but more of like a being, right? So the tribunal is an aspect of a being, because I don't want to say body, because the commandant, now we'll get into the different who represents what. The commandant represents the body, the physical aspect of the tribunal, of the being, right? So the commandant is the body, and that's why he generally is the most martial and militaristic, represents soldiery and warfare and stuff like that, and why he's generally also the strongest or most influential of them, is he's literally the body and commands the troops and commands, the armies and everything like that of Rohirrim. So that's why I want to say that Rohirrim sees itself as a living being, and their society sees itself as a being instead of a body, because the commandant represents that body itself, the body of the being. Now, the Baumeister represents the mind, right? The brain of the operation. This is why the Baumeister is in control of the Red Circle mages, basically enslaved mages. So the Baumeister represents kind of magical prowess, and even in a society that doesn't like magic, in that he enslaves magic users to do their will, because I guess they're distrusted, and Rohirrim's a very superstitious culture as well. So, in a very slave driven culture, very honestly, I don't want to say the culture, but the government and the functioning structure of Rohirrim is very fascistic, to be honest. So, that being said, the Baumeister is the mind, right? The mind of the operation, the mind of the being. He represents that, and the intelligence of the mages and the magic kind of the mind, right? So moving on, that's why generally the Baumeister is considered the second most powerful, and the Abt last is considered probably the least powerful of them. And why in Distorted Rohirrim, he's already gone. The Abt had already been destroyed and killed in the Shattering of Rohirrim. Now this is important because this will make a lot of sense for Rohirrim, why it looks the way it is, and why it is the way it is, why the Abt is gone. Now, what aspect does the Abt represent of the being, right? Of the greater being, the soul. The soul. And this is why the Abt was in control, like the priesthood and the, how would you say, the priesthood and the religious structure of Rohirrim and their beliefs and stuff like that. So the Abt at the start of Distorted Rohirrim is already gone. He has already been destroyed, allegedly in the Shattering, and he is destroyed. But it is, how would you say, postulated maybe, that is in the Shattering. We don't directly see this, but he is gone already and is acknowledged and backed verbatim. He is gone. The Abt is gone. So in a sense, the soul of Rohirrim is gone. Not just the... So with the soul gone and that kind of triangular kind of motion that we talked about, remember? Kind of shatters, no? Kind of shatters, right? Because there's no third referential point to attach to the other two. So the tribunal, in a sense, is shattered. The Shattering of Rohirrim, not just the land and but the literal tribunal has been shattered. And in that sense, remember we said once you lose that respect and lose that kind of, you are already dead almost. You are to put it in Sam's words, fuck, I have to look that up. That's so good. I don't know. You are a walking dead person. Shout out to Sam. I don't know the word off the top of my head, but that was a really cool line. So, in a sense, once you have lost that the reference point and the reverence of, I guess, the people, because you've been shattered, you've been shattered, your whole belief in the soul has been shattered. That leaves way for someone else to come in, and that is Wakuwah. Now, notice here. Before we get to Wakuwah, notice here that we talk about not the tribunal, but their aspects: body, mind, soul, right? And those three different triangular points of reference, right? The body, the mind, and the soul over here, right? So, why is that important? This is important because how does this relate to other triangulations and structures that we have made in the past? Well, we've often talked about ethos, pathos, and logos, or the real, the symbolic, and the imaginary, or the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. This is very reminiscent of Holy Trinity, and I would like to think of this triangular structure, and also just generally relates to the kind of the whole triangle structure that we've been talking about for so long. Now, so to build off of that, I want to talk about that something very interesting that I've come, I don't want to say to realize, but to think about how this relates to everything. So we're going to invert a triangle. Crazy, I know. So we're going to flip a triangle upside down. So draw a triangle upside down on a piece of paper nearby, right? Okay? And I'm going to draw to you a new symbol that I have discussed in Distorted Rohirrim. It's called the Dragon's Eye. Now, generally, it is supposed to be seen as the fork between good and evil. So, what does that mean? That a triangle converges in the middle, right? So, take your triangle and draw lines to the middle, right? So, it should look... Oh, shit. Hold on. Like I said, it's got set up, y'all. Hold on. I can't. It's on a cord. That top one and the top, I guess it'll be on the right. That triangle where the lines are going to the middle. That is a dragon's eye, or the opening of the dragon's eye, which we talk about in Rohirrim, Distorted Rohirrim game. Now, why is this inverted triangle with the lines coming in important, you ask? This is really important because, how would you say? Think about it as the convergence of all three, right? Of the three things into one unitary thing, or how would you say? Sorry, I can't speak right now. So think of that as the three converges into one, right? So how does that? Obviously, I think my players are maybe starting to get the hint that three converging into one thing. As in the events of Distorted Rohirrim, not only is the apt dead to start and the soul dead and the tribunal shattered, the commandant and the Baumeister also are slain by the hands of the party and Wakuwah. So, what is the three converging into one is obviously the Baumeister, the commandant, and the apt, the mind, the body, and the soul converging into one being, Wakuwah himself, right? So, Wakuwah represents the middle of the dragon's eye, and represents the fork between good and evil. Now, I won't say that much, but he represents this intersectional point between all the characteristics of Rohirrim. Now, you see, now that seems cool enough as is, right? Of Wakuwah being the intersection of all the aspects into one, basically being indivisible, right? That's interesting in itself, but we're gonna take that concept. It's not just that. We can take that concept and go even higher to see how this is truly Wakuwah's ascension. This isn't just Wakuwah's, emergence as the sole leader of Rohirrim by being the mind, body, and soul, by converging all aspects of Rohirrim's tribunal to himself. This isn't just about his political domination and takeover of the whole countryside. This is about his ascension, his emergence into something bigger than all of that. And so, like I said, this inverted triangular structure that goes down and converges into one point, this is also very reminiscent of Holy Trinity as well. Now, we've always talked about Holy Trinity as Son, Father, Holy Spirit, right? Noticeably, we can connect the tribunal here, the soul, the Holy Spirit, right? The abt, the Baumeister, and the commandant as mismatched father, son, right? It's little dubious which is which. In the same sense as dubious which is does mind or matter come first, right? Who the does Father Son, who is truly Father Son, the body or the mind? We don't know. But the point is that the tribunal structure of Rohirrim very easily adapts to the Holy Trinity as we've been discussing it, as Son, Father, Holy Spirit, right? However, there is a distinct, I'm sure some of my Christian watchers or Christian viewers will understand this. There's a inverted triangular structure, much like the dragon's eye, as there's a pictogram of, I guess, the Holy Trinity that was used to talk about and to kind of teach people about the Holy Trinity and how that in Catholicism and stuff like that. So what are we talking about here? So usually it was, now hold on, I don't know in what order or what like sides of the, or what points they were, but we'll look it up real quick. So if you're doing maybe a view along or a read along, look up the Holy Trinity, or the shield of the Trinity. Now we've talked about the Trinity as just a triangle, but the shield of the Trinity is generally an inverted triangle with a circle in the middle, and points converge to the middle. Isn't this very similar to the dragon's eye, which we've been talking about? So it is usually the Father is not the Son, and the Son is not the Holy Spirit, and the Father is not the Holy Spirit, right? So the Father is not the Son is not the Father is not the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is not the Father. But the Father is God, the Son is God, and the Holy Spirit is God. They are all convergent into one, right? Into God, into the unitary nature. So this is why Wakuwah's, I guess, convergence, and him being the convergence point, is huge for him, because the philosophical implications of it is that he has become God, a God incarnate, philosophically a God. He is, because he's not just the mind, he's not just the body, and he's not just the soul, but he is God himself, convergent into one being, right? So that's pretty much it. I don't really have much else to say other than that Wakuwah himself has philosophically, I guess, ascended already, if not physically yet in the world of Therian, but he has philosophically already ascended. He already has the philosophical basis of that he is literally God, and the chief of God, and the one God alone, which is why he is going to steal the throne from Balorn and be ruler, king of the cosmos, Kagan of not just Rohirrim, but of, I don't know, whatever is the new thing. So that's the gist of it. How Wakuwah has fulfilled the Holy Trinity shield, not just like the Holy Trinity, the triangles, but the inversion of it. Notice that creates more triangles. They're just everywhere, aren't they? God damn it. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, I don't really have much else to discuss other than that. I thought that was a neat concept that I wanted to elaborate on, and sorry for the scuff setup. Like I said, I deleted my software that I usually record on. So, yeah, that's that. However, I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I hadn't got to do a good philosophical video in a long time, so I really wanted to do something to kind of let you in on what I've been cooking, because I've been cooking, but I have plans that I cannot share with you right now because the haters will sabotage me. I have plans that I cannot share with you right now because the haters will sabotage me. I have plans that I will not share with you right now because the haters will sabotage me. But I just want y'all to know, I've got something in the works. So, that's that. Stay tuned for more philosophical updates, where we'll talk about philosophy, religion, psychoanalysis, esoteric kind of bullshit, and how that relates to Therian and Wakuwah himself, because he's obviously a star player in this. He's very divine extension of. He's more than just a character, to be honest. At this point, he's kind of like a I don't want to say a thought form, but he's very Tulpa-ish and kind of his own being at this point. I think he's very. Um, I don't think. I think in the time when I played him as a character, I think I was very much him, but I don't think so anymore. I don't think I'm Wakuwah. I think Wakuwah is his own person, his own thing, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So, like I said, that's it. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more. Um, Let me know what you think. Um, are you cooking any good triangles? How, make sure to maybe see the world that way. And yeah, that's it. I'll go ahead and go now. Bye.